technical ways. Can you talk about, Caitlin, the process of after you submit the proposal, what should you expect? What does that process look like going forward? What comes to you? We talked about contracts and advanced contracts. We talked about reader reports. Can you kind of map out that process for us?
Of course, and I'll just say up front that the process is a little different at every press, and so you should definitely ask whenever you speak with an acquisitions editor, but generally you submit your proposal. Your proposal comes with, it often includes a couple sample chapters. Some presses, so for MSU Press, since this is if you are submitting a project on Black digital studies, this is an area I'm familiar with. It's an area we're building a list in, and so we would evaluate the proposal internally. For us, that takes about 8 weeks. I read it and then I present it to my colleagues in acquisitions, as well as my colleagues in marketing and production, and we sort of talk through the project. My acquisitions colleagues will raise any concerns they see from a content perspective. Production will raise any concerns. For example, if you want to include 50 images, that might be an issue for reasons I can explain. But then after we've talked, if we think it is a solid project, if you have a strong argument, or to circle back to what Kashana was saying, even if the project, we don't necessarily need the proposal to match the final product, but if I get some sense that like your brain is really exciting, that you think in a really cool way, then I invite the full manuscript for consideration. And I can talk more about like timelines and all of that if anyone has any questions about that. Some presses, including some presses, if you want an advanced contract, will send the proposal out for what's called external review. Best practices are to send the proposal out to 2 reviewers. In the US, we do single anonymous review, which means they often know who you are, you won't know who they are. As Raven experienced, you can get, I hope what was helpful feedback on the proposal evaluation. And then that also, that's sort of some initial vetting for the acquisitions editor to go ahead and offer you an advanced contract. MSU Press doesn't necessarily do that, but that is something that some presses do. And then if you don't do an advanced contract, usually the contract will be offered after your manuscript has been through review, received 2 supportive peer review reports, and then been presented to what is called the University Editorial Advisory Board. Once they sign off on it, then at that point, I would say most, if not all, presses are at that point comfortable with offering you a contract. And yeah, there's a lot that happens in between there. I'm happy to answer any more specific questions.
That's super helpful. There was a question in the chat about why someone might want an advanced contract. I think the answer is specific to the individual and the institution that they're at. For some folks, having that advanced contract before your 3rd-year review is really useful. Some folks can actually negotiate with other presses or things like that. So it's really individual to the process. Some presses don't offer an advanced contract at all, and they require sending the full manuscript out. But for a lot of folks, it's about what institution you're at and what they are expecting. So it's a way of showing that you're making good progress toward publishing your book. So if your chair says an advanced contract would be helpful by year 2 or be helpful by year 3, then you're shooting for the advanced contract.